Welcome back to the Plain Out Loud podcast. Today we have two fantastic people I'm so excited to interview. We have Rob Ford here representing, I would say, Elk Rapids and the greater kind of that northern out of Traverse City region. And we have Nan Worthington, who's been a staple in this local community for a while. Both of you really are, I would say, historic heavyweights as far as just what you've done and what you Nan's measuring her waist. We won't do measurements till later. Don't worry about it. So we'll just jump right in here. Rob, let's start with you. So you are an Elk Rapids community member for how many years now?
I've lived in Elk Rapids since 1987.
Ooh, good year. Yeah. Good year.
But prior to that, I lived in Traverse City, and then I actually was born and raised in Empire.
Oh, you're a tried and true Northern Michigan.
I am a native, yeah.
Love it, love it. Mm-hmm. You are also a founding member, I should say, of the Elk Rapids Players.
Right.
And also a member of HERTHA, which stands for the Historic Elk Rapids Town Hall. Mm-hmm. And that's where Elk Rapids Players typically does their shows.
That's right.
Great. And we'll probably touch on that in a little bit. And you're on the board of directors, I should say, for HERTHA. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Great. How long have you been on the board there?
About 5 years, I'd say.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit longer.
All right. Great.
I've had influence on it since the beginning.
Okay.
And it's a pretty interesting story how the Elk Rapids Players and HERTHA came to be.
Yeah.
So I've been an influence since the beginning. I just became on the board, I guess it was right before the pandemic, so 19.
Yeah. So you got that pre-pandemic, pandemic, post-pandemic energy
right.
all there.
Yeah. We lived through it all.
Yeah. 3 completely different eras, I would say. Perfect. And I believe I saw that you co-created Voices from Maple Grove. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did.
All right. That's a 5-act outdoor performance that was held at Maple Grove Cemetery in Elk Rapids, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. Someone from the Elk Rapids Historical Society came to me about 1.5 years ago and had this idea of having this walk through a cemetery and have people portraying people that are buried there. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, that sounds great. How do we do that? So someone from the Historical Society did deep dives on 5 different people. Mm-hmm. And in about April or May, she sent me a stack of information. And we wrote scripts. There was 3 of us, Nancy Baker, Roland Johnson, and me. And we wrote scripts and sent them to each other and reworked them. And they came out fantastic. It was lots of times you're in a project and when it's over with, you're like, glad that's over. This is one I savored every minute of it. And it happened last weekend and I'm just like, wow, we really did that.
That's awesome. Do you think that'll be an annual
I
treat?
hope so. I certainly hope so. We have 5 names picked out for next year.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
Like 5 new folks?
5 new.
Oh, right.
5 new voices from Maple Grove Cemetery. Yeah.
That's exciting. It's like a new addition every...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that.
And the town, everybody that came to it just fell in love with it. And it was like the demand is, we thought, well, maybe every other year. No, people are going to want it every year.
I mean, I am mad I didn't go see it. So,
next year.
Yeah, it's next year. Thank you. That's so cool. I don't think Traverse City or anybody has
event.
that. Yeah, I
hope
love that.
Maybe we'll spur it, and maybe every town will do one. But
I'd love to see the script. As a writer who's writing 1-act plays and stuff like that, I'd love to see that.
They all were about 10 to 12 minutes long.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's a real interesting look at what our town looked like 140 years ago. And then one of the people only died like in the 1990s. So some people actually knew that person when she was alive.
That's great, though, to have that connection. So it's not just like a person from a book long ago.
Right.
It's a little bit more tangible. And you're like, oh, yeah, no, they knew that person and they had Christmas dinners or whatever with them.
Right.
And you'll end up with a wonderful history of the area if you keep doing it, because I'm sure there's a lot of people there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 4,000 people buried there. So we've got 5 down, 3,995 to go.
Let's do them all, even the dogs. I love it.
Right.
I love it. And you also are a columnist for, is it Elk Rapids News and Traverse City Record Eagle?
Yeah. Every 2 weeks, I put a column in each of those.
Yes.
And it's just kind of whatever's on my mind kind of stuff. I'm really, really lucky that I just get to write whatever I want. Yeah.
A local native perspective on the everyday thoughts and goings on.
I figure if it's on my mind, it's probably on lots of people's minds.
Yeah. Love that. And that is great because that writing background helped bring you into like writing the outdoor series, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Voices from Maple Grove. I love that. All right, Nan, your turn. As you stare at me nervously. So, Nan, I don't want to say you're a jack of all trades because, I mean, you do a lot of things, but you do have a focus, right? So singing, you've sang for many years. You're definitely an actress. We have done a show together. And a props master, which I want to dive into a little bit today because you have this creative mind that just like thinking about all the props and shows that I know that you've worked on. Yes, all like A Million Pies, right, for Waitress and all these other things.
Only 50.
Only 50. That's a lot, though. All right. And you also co-chair the props technical committee at Old Town Playhouse?
Yes.
Yep. You've obviously been volunteering there for a long time. When did you first show up at Old Town Playhouse?
I showed up in 1981.
Good years. All right. I'm not great at math. How many years is that?
Oh, for heaven's
Many
sakes.
years. Many years. That's fine. You have also appeared in local films such as Dogman 3. That film maybe, a couple years ago?
A couple of years ago.
A couple years ago. And last year you won the Volunteer of the Year Award, and you've been previously inducted into the Old Town Playhouse Hall of Fame. You're currently on stage in Sister Act. What's your character's name?
Sister Mary Lazarus.
That's right. She is a stitch. I have seen her, and I will see her tonight. And you're also working on costumes for the next main stage, which is Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And props for Matilda after that.
Any breaks coming up or just back-to-backs?
I'm not sure I need a break.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. All right, so let's dive in. Would love to know a little bit, we'll start with you, Nan, a little bit to know why do you volunteer so much in so many capacities in the performing arts, and also why props? Like, what about props drew you in to that part of the performing arts?
Well, if you go way back to when I started being on stage, which was entirely accidental, the group that I was on stage with, the Ann Arbor Gilbert and Sullivan Society, required that everyone that was in the cast also do some work in the backstage area. And it opened your mind to a lot of other ways of experiencing and giving with your creativity. I mean, there are so many people that have the logical, beautiful minds that order everything and can argue everything, but I have the creative mind that just kind of wanders everywhere and finds possibilities. And after acting here for a few years, I thought that it was important that I also do things in another way when I'm not on stage, because you can't always be on stage. And I do love that. But I also love making things and trying to figure out how to make them. I love looking at the history and seeing what is appropriate to the period and how they would have used it and where it came from. And did they have cardboard then? And what kind of pencil or writing implement would they use? And I find that all really makes the experience so much richer to know all those things and to portray those people and to help other people portray those things. So that's how the props came in, is just because I felt like it was important to be more than just a person on stage.
Yeah. And you obviously liked it enough to continue doing it for as long as you have, right?
Yeah. And I found a wonderful friend. So my co-props chair is Bernadette Grapuso, and I met her at the theater, and we work really well together, and it's been really nice.
Yeah. Bernadette's a gem. I love working with both of you and seeing you a part of so many shows. Rob, I'll switch to you real quick. Why did you help co-create the Elk Rapids Players? What launched that story?
Okay, so in 1996, a guy named Reg Bird walked into my office, put a script on my desk, and said, "People tell me you'd be good at this." And I looked at it, and he had already written my name and the part on the script, and I flipped it open, and the guy wasn't the lead, but he was on every page. His name was on every page. Anyway, he talked me into being in this play, and we made some money and we gave it to the Regional Land Conservancy, which was what Reg's cause was. Fast forward 12 years later, Elk Rapids Township decided to sell the historical Elk Rapids Town Hall, and that's when Hertha became being. And I crossed paths with one of those guys, and I said, hey, a few years ago we did a play here, and we made some money, and we gave it to the Land Conservancy. Could we try to do that for you guys? Mm-hmm. And they were kind of skeptical, but they said, yeah, try it. We'll see what it looks like. So I just gathered a bunch of friends, and we put together a presentation of The Odd Couple. And it turned out, we thought, really, really good.
Yeah.
And we cut them a check for $3,500.
Wow.
And they said, well, I bet you can't do that again. And so in the fall, one of my favorite people, Karen Haspis, and I both live out in Elk Rapids. So we put together Barefoot in the Park. And we added a couple more pieces. A couple more people joined us. And we did another play in the following spring. And we just started doing 2 shows a year. And now we're up to, I think we have done 22 shows now.
Wow.
It all just came from that one show that I was in 1996.
Yeah.
That we just, we have just a beautiful hall that we do our shows in. And it's one of the reasons they saved the hall
Right.
when the township sold it this past year. The community said, we have got to keep community theater here.
Yeah. I have been to that hall, and it is beautiful. I think there's so much opportunity to do tons of things there, really.
Right.
But performative-wise, it's unique, very, very unique to
right.
this entire region. And Elk Rapids Players also works in tandem a little bit with the Playhouse for, is it like some costume stuff or props in the past?
Yeah, we have borrowed lots of their costumes over the years. Yeah, it's really nice to have that resource.
Yeah. Now, do you have a props master or mistress?
I'm sitting here and I am so jealous of a lot of things at Old Town Playhouse. And I realize Old Town Playhouse has been around a long time, but there are so many people that have found their passion helping out at the Old Town Playhouse over and over and over. The guys that build things, the guys that paint things, the guys that direct things, the musical people, all those people. And we have slowly added a piece and a piece and a piece. Mm-hmm. And that's my goal, is to one day have a complement as rich as Old Town Playhouse has.
Yeah. I'm sure Nan could probably give some ideas or how to build that up.
We do loan props. The props and the costumes to high schools or smaller theatrical groups. And that's a little known part of what our job is to help people find the appropriate things and make sure they come back and bring them over and look through things. But
we borrowed some swords a few years ago. That was the last thing I remember getting from you guys. But it's just, I'm glad. I'm so happy that the art community in Northern Michigan is so complimentary.
Yeah,
instead of
collaborative.
competitive.
Yeah.
Right.
I think one of the things that Bernadette and I have been working on is not only bringing order to the props room, which was real interesting when we started there, but also to try to curate things that will be used over and over in every show, trying to find something that we can keep there that will be used over and over again. And you mentioned swords, and our sword collection was heavily used in one play, and every night it was, this one came apart, or the tip came off of this. And recently we got a grant, and we've replaced our swords.
Oh, great.
And they're beautiful now.
Great. Well, now you should do a show that needs swords, because you could use new swords. That's fantastic. I think that's probably a little known fact, honestly, that the community theaters of the region share resources. Yeah. They share stories, they share actors, they share a lot of different things. And I think that's probably just not well known.
Yeah, and Old Town Playhouse has this tremendous library of scripts.
Yes.
And I've gone down there and just talked to the people there about, just grab a script. Does anybody remember doing this? Is this good? Is this good?
Yeah.
That's such a resource.
It has inspired my own script library that I have at home. Mine is a fraction of the size, of course, but given that Old Town Playhouse has been around for 65 years, which is a big milestone, mine's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a small amount kind of comparatively, but it is a great place for that kind of resource, definitely. Would love to bounce back about just kind of your favorite things about what you're doing. You talked a little bit about just the love of props and creating that and performing, of course, Nan, but when somebody says, would you like to do props for the show? Matilda, we'll say. What are you most excited about? What's the thing that gets you really excited? The first thing you do when you dive into that script?
Well, the first thing we do is Bernadette and I both go through the script. We always do the props together, and we make a list of everything we consider would be a prop, which is something an actor carries onto stage or uses on stage. And then we review it with the director, and what is your vision? Do you have a time period you're interested in? Are you doing this as like a comic thing, or are you doing it very seriously? What do you want these to represent?
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of talk about it and divide them up, and there's almost always something that we look at and think, how would that happen?
Mm-hmm.
What would we do? How would it work? I had not really done much fake food before.
Okay.
So the pies for Waitress were a big challenge. How do I make these and make them last and make them look realistic? And what kind of stuff do I use? So then you start looking at YouTube and Pinterest and old props books about how to make fake food. And then there's the monetary thing. We always have a budget, and you can't spend $1 million doing this. And it was just, I spent the entire summer making pies. Each pie took about 7 or 8 hours to make, and there were 50 of them. And there was clay, there was mulch from my garden for a chocolate crust, there was sand for the beach for a graham cracker crust, there was paint, there was a lot of heavy smells. But the funniest part about it was I would put them out on the deck to dry, and then I soon realized the squirrels were eating them. So I couldn't do that anymore.
Fake pies.
And then I ran out of room because I had pies on every surface in my house, and I was having company. So they built some shelves at the playhouse that I could put them into, and I put them on those shelves, and the mice started eating them.
Oh, no.
And I don't think we realized what a mouse problem we had until they started eating all these fake pies.
That's an unexpected curveball there.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I believe they're gone now.
Yes. That was taken care of pretty immediately. But those are things you don't probably think about when you're putting on a play, is props you've made that look like food but are not food, but might smell good to things that want to eat them. And it's just a bit of a rabbit hole to go down. And there is a dedicated props room at the Playhouse too, right? But that's not where all of the props live.
No, there's a props room, but we also have a storage unit. Mm-hmm. And some of the larger props end up in there.
Yeah. I think the running joke for Waitress the Musical is that it actually wasn't called Waitress the Musical. It was called Props the Musical because there were so many props to that show.
That was unexpected, but it was intense.
Yeah. I kind of want to dig a little bit more into Elk Rapids, and you talked a little bit about like what you'd like to build up with Elk Rapids players. So now that you've had this new original play, what are your other like hopes for Elk Rapids players? I mean, it's staying where it is, right, in Hertha, but outside of continuing productions, are there any other dreams, things that you want Elk Rapids players to become?
Not really.
Yeah.
We just are really glad that we're in the town. I would like to grow it so that the same people are not getting burnt out.
Sure.
You know, that's always a concern because that's in a community theater. Sometimes you're leaning on the same people over and over and over, and it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my long-term goal, this past summer we did a theater camp for kids.
Yep.
That was really successful, and we're just having auditions here next week for our next play, which is going to be the best Christmas pageant ever, which requires a bunch of kids.
Okay.
So we're hoping that this summer was a kind of a farm team for our thing. We have learned that if you have kids in your cast, that always sells more tickets. You know? It's just a kind of a fact. You know? We want to be there to cultivate the kids into theater. Really, one of the keys to longevity is to get them young.
Yeah.
I want to offer as many things as we can. We're planning on, in addition to our plays, we always have a monthly trivia night at the hall. We did the camp, we did the Voices from River Street, Maple Grove Cemetery, and 2 shows a year. And that's pretty ambitious right now. Yeah. But I would love to be able to do a third show, but that will come. That will come.
That will come as more people get involved, right? Over time.
Yeah.
Many hands makes light work. But I mean, really, if you think about maybe your last year, you had just 2 shows. And then this year you really maybe doubled that because you have the extra Maple Grove and a summer camp.
Yeah.
So really like your programming sort of doubled in a year's time.
Right. Instead of just 2 shows, we had all the other things going on. Yeah.
Do you attribute that to more people moving up to the region or more interest or just the right time?
I think it's just the right time. We just happened to have the show we did last fall. We added about 6 new people that had never been in any of our shows. And they all they were a big part of the cemetery walk. And we just met. We had kind of a production meeting for our fall play. And they all were real eager to dig in and do things other than on stage stuff.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. You have a whole balcony up there, right? With lights and
the balcony is the balcony's not open to the public to sit, but that's where we do a lot of our tech, spotlights and soundboard is up there.
Yep. I remember seeing those when I was there last time. Oh, spotlights, those are exciting.
Yeah. It's so acoustically perfect. Somebody stands up on the stage and just maybe snaps their fingers. You can hear it up in that balcony just as clear as if they were standing next to you. It's just such a fun building.
I think there's something about when you walk into that building that it feels historic, but it feels like a combination of you're walking back in time, but you're also very present at the same time. It's kind of hard to describe, like just you can just feel the history there. And even just the architecture of the building itself lends itself to a time long ago, but you're using it in the here and now. So there's just like this unique energy I feel like the building gives.
It's always, the facility itself is just as big a star as anybody on stage.
Yeah. Yes.
When someone came in there.
Yes.
For better or for worse, we pioneered alcohol at our shows.
Okay.
We did this musical back in 2013 or so called Don't Hug Me, and it was set in a bar in Minnesota. I was like, wouldn't it be great if we could serve a beer to people, So we cobbled together some stuff with licenses, and we may have broken a rule or two, but we got away with it. And then we kind of developed that and went legit with the state. But we were one of the first theaters that had alcohol available at our shows. And now there's a bar there, and people wouldn't have it any other way when they come there.
I love that. I think that's a nice feature. It's a social feature. It's sodas and it's drinks or snacks and it's something for everybody. Food always does. It brings people together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one more feature that we have available. Yeah.
And in some cases, apparently fake food brings other things to the table. So.
I think the smaller areas around here and the stories that they have been some of the most rewarding things that I've done is taking part in some plays about Sleeping Bear Dunes or Empire, or I haven't done any things with your group, more on the other side, but local playwrights telling the stories of what they're doing. And not only are they telling the stories, they're including people in the area, and they're also, as an actress, they write the story, and when you read it back for them and tell them, it's such a wonderful experience, the back and forth about, well, this doesn't make sense to me. And so they'll enlarge their story. Or this is hard to say, and they'll think through their words and recreate it. So it's just very much a part of everyone that's in it and that it's done for.
I love that. It's kind of segue into that. What are some of your favorite things about what you do? Like, is it working with Bernadette? Is it a new script? Is it putting up a new show? Is it being at the Playhouse? Is it hot glue sticks? What are some of your favorite, most rewarding, I guess I would say, parts about what you do?
Well, like I said, I started out acting. And to me, being an actress is taking a little piece of myself. It's like we're wound up with all these nerves and things inside of ourselves. Taking out one little piece and unwinding it until you get all these little fibers. Some of them you know very well, because I think if you're going to portray something, there has to be truth in it. There has to be some honesty in what you're doing. But also untangling some things and tying in some new things that maybe you want to think about. And it's therapy in a way. You learn a lot about yourself and you learn a lot about other people. So I love being someone else that's also me. I also have come to appreciate more and more the people that I meet, because for many years you work and you know the people that you work with very well. And then I'm now retired, and it narrows down who you know to a large extent, who you interact with. In doing theater, I know so many wonderful people that are all different ages, and I learn so much from them about what's going on in the world and just everything. And I think that that has enriched my life so much. So the props is another way to create, a very different way to create, but both the acting and the props are creating, and they are interacting with other people, and they're also challenging me, challenging me to do more, to be more.
Yeah. And props themselves can be characters too, right? You can have a prop, a phone maybe that rings on stage incessantly or at different times, and maybe it represents another person who speaks on the other end of that phone, but it's ultimately sort of a little character on stage sometimes. Maybe not so much fruit that you're fake eating or throwing at people, but sometimes those props really come to life in a different kind of way too. What would you say is the most challenging thing about doing props?
Sometimes it's making something work and trying to figure out, how am I going to make this work? Sometimes it's having people respect that you've spent a lot of time and a lot of energy making this. And I made it specifically for you. Please respect it and take care of it.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think a lot of people don't think about it. They just grab and go. Like, they don't understand the hours of labor that can go into either a single prop or an entire show. I mean, there's a reason there's two of you typically working on a show, right?
And we organize it very much. And at the end of the night, when everyone is excited, they've just performed this show, we have to collect everything and make sure that it's all there. And we find ourselves going through costume pockets and running down and saying, do you know where you put this?
Rob's laughing. I feel like you've experienced this.
All the time. All the time.
I'll pose the same questions to you, Rob. What do you find the most rewarding about Elk Rapids Players?
The whole thing that we are still doing it 15 years after we started doing it. In fact, the other day, I thought, we don't have a very good database. We do have a stack of programs from every play. So I had somebody go through it and write down the names of every actor that's ever been in a play. And so we finally started building a database. The only reason we hadn't was because none of us ever thought we'd still be doing this.
Wow.
Back in the beginning, we thought, well, we'll do a show, and we'll do another show, and we'll do another show. But we never had like a long-range strategy in place. And we finally, now that Hertha will own the town hall, we finally are going to become legitimate that way.
Yeah.
And have a theater board of directors, which I always have also admired the Old Town Playhouse as far as their forward-looking, that kind of stuff. So we will hopefully get that in place, get a good database, and get a board that looks more than just like, what are we working on today? What do you guys want to do next? I want to have like maybe a year or two of shows loaded up.
I love that.
That's the most rewarding thing, is that we're still, walk in the lobby, we have posters from every show that we've done.
Yep.
And I just stand there and I look at it like, wow, there's not a stinker in the bunch.
I love it.
Yeah, they all were. I'm very, very proud of. And then to put up a poster for the cemetery walk will just be like, yeah, that was really, really good.
Yeah. The Playhouse does that too. And I think it's a great reminder of the legacy that you bring. And maybe that was never a thought. And maybe that's not a thought even to a degree today. But ultimately, the performing arts in their many capacities are part of the legacy we leave as individuals, but also as a collective community.
No doubt. No doubt. It's a team sport like no other, from the get-go, from day one, with hatching the idea for what play you're going to do. You need to have a team, and you really have to work together.
Yeah. On the flip side, what do you think is the most challenging part? Maybe it's budget, maybe it's volunteers.
I would say just manpower. It's one thing to say, okay, we're going to do a certain play. Then you put out the thing for auditions, and next thing you know, only half the people that you need show up. Then you go out and you start calling people and say, hey, you want to be in a play? You want to be in a play? You know, that's the hard part. That's the real challenge for us is manpower.
Yeah. Getting volunteers in the door takes time.
Yeah.
And intention. And
but we've made good strides. With this last year or so has been really good. And we got a lot of help this summer when we did the theater camp. And hopefully those people will all come back and be ready to pitch in when we do a show.
Yeah. Excellent. I'd love to know, this is a question again for both of you. What are your favorite shows you've worked on? In whatever capacity, whether it's acting, props, directing on the show, what are some of your absolute favorite shows you've done?
I'll tell you one. I was in an Old Town Playhouse production of The Full Monty.
Ooh.
There was such a fun cast, such a fun play with such fun songs that you never would ever hear again. You know, this one that comes to mind was this song called A Big Ass Rock.
I love it.
And that was like 2 years before we started the Elk Rapids Players, but that was one that will always be one. And then of the Elk Rapids Players, of course, I'll always have a soft spot for The Odd Couple, our very, very first show. And then we did this musical called Don't Hug Me. And it's the one that we started serving alcohol at. And it was a small cast musical. There's only like 6 people in the whole show. And I had never, ever been in a musical. I had never sung songs to anybody. And they just needed one more guy. So I said, I'll try. I can be taught.
Sure.
And we worked really hard, and it turned out to be a really, really fun show.
I love it. I love it. How about you, Nan?
Well, I think that's a really difficult question because there's so many different aspects. Like, I've been in Sweeney Todd and Les Mis, and those have phenomenal music, and they just do something in your brain when you sing those things. And then there's the ones where you really get to create a character. And you have a lot of time, like Marjorie Prime and Ripcord. Oh my gosh, I'd never heard of that show. And yet the author gives you so much to work with on who is this person, and you become that person. Then there's ones that are just fun.
Yeah.
And then Shakespeare, where you're experiencing the language and loving the language. And I can't choose one thing. Working with Anne-Marie Uman and working on her shows and her stories and working with someone whose brain can create these stories. And I'm looking at this list of shows that I've been in, and I can't pick anything.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. There are lots of different shows that resonate with you, too, a little bit more deeply during certain parts of your life, too, right? You could be a part of a show that just hits the sweet spot of, like, I'm going through something, and this show helps alleviate that, or it helps me connect to something else deeper around whatever it is that you're going on. And I think that's the beautiful part about arts in general, is the deep connection to the human experience that it provides.
Right. Yeah,
and
I would agree 100%.
It could be as simple as having a beer at a great show, and I just really needed this release, right?
Yeah.
It could be something as profound as, here's a character I can really dig into and actually learn something about my humanity from experiences I've never had before, right? Or the music. I am also a big fan of Les Mis. It was my first musical I ever did, and it's a tried and true classic. It's always in my top 3. And so you listen to that, come back to it, and you're like, it still resonates. It's still there. It's beautiful. It's funny. It's bawdy. It's gorgeous. It's all these things at once. And it's a beautiful story that kind of stands the test of time. So it becomes a foundation. Some of those pieces are Sweeney Todd. Maybe I haven't seen Sweeney Todd live, actually, now that I think about it.
Oh,
we should do that. We should do that.
The director gave me license to go and interact with the audience. And they built me a little home.
Oh.
Under, like, by the stage steps, and I could come in and out, and I could beg food. I begged money from the audience.
Oh, wow.
I was the beggar woman.
Okay.
And I made money every night.
How
Not very
actors pay
much.
the bills.
Yeah, that's right.
But sometimes it's like, no, can't sing yet. I'm getting money here.
Hold, please. I need to make money.
I think my favorite ever singing, though, was Amal and the Night Visitors.
I don't know that
It's
one.
written by Menotti, and I love singing Menotti.
Okay.
And it was a classic on TV for many years when I was growing up. And we did it in some churches the year the Playhouse was closed by the fire marshal.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw it at Grace.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a.
And I adore that. I guess it's more of an opera than a musical.
That's good. I'm fine with that. Was it like a touring production then, if you did it at different places?
I did it at different places because initially it wasn't a Playhouse production.
Okay.
It was a woman who had a child that sang very well. And she created it and found places for us to do it.
Yeah.
And so I'd done that, and then the Playhouse decided to do it. So it moved around.
Nice. I have two final questions for you both. The first is, I'd love to just get your thoughts on performing arts in Northern Michigan. It's evolved a lot since COVID, but even before then, we used to have Parallel 45, and that's no longer, and we've had these little pockets. Glen Arbor Players is growing. Elk Rapids Players is growing. Northport's shifted a little bit, right? Frankfort has their own setup. Benzonia has a symphony orchestra, all these different things. I'm curious just to get your thoughts on like what you think about the state of performing arts in the region. Is it thriving? Is it sustaining? Do you see it growing or shifting in any particular direction?
Without a doubt, it is populated with a bunch of fighters. We had to fight Elk Rapids. They wanted to get rid of the hall. And so we had to fight for our piece of real estate. And I see that a lot, not just the political environment certainly causes some of that, but I'm very, very proud of the Northern Michigan arts scene. 65 years, that's a long time to be doing this, and that obviously means that it's generationally sustained. And I just think that there are a lot of people that still appreciate losing themselves watching live theater.
Yeah.
It's as old as time. Tell me a story. Yeah. Like I said, I'm buoyed by the fact that there are people that fight for it still.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got a lot of them.
Absolutely.
So my husband gave me a quote one day, and he said, "This is you. You are never truly alive unless you are creating something." So the periods in my life when I'm not making or doing something are like a death in me. It's like there's something just really not me around anymore. And I think that the fact that during the Holocaust in the concentration camps, they had the orchestras. Obviously, we fight with funding. We fight with what is the value of the arts. But I think there will always be arts because there are people that have to do these things. And that's what all these people are that I'm playing with all the time. These people that, as we sit in the dressing room for Sister Act, we're going, you know, I don't really fit in most places, but here, you are my sisters.
Yeah.
You are my comrades, and we do connect. And I think that the arts is a connection that will exist, whether we have the funding, whether we have the halls, we will exist.
Yeah. I think people will always storytell regardless of whether they're getting paid or not paid because it is a life force. It is in their blood. And I think everybody's a creative. I think many people who are maybe math and science heavy think they're not creative, but they are creative just in a different way, right? I'm a big believer in that. Everybody is a creator of some kind. And I know there was a time in my life when I didn't create. I stopped doing live theater. And I leaned into more of a, we'll just say a different part of my life. And it was probably like an 8-year break. And it wasn't until I saw stand-up again live for the first time around 30 that I said, oh, I think I could do that. And then I just, like 6 weeks later, I did my first open mic and I had the bug. And then we jumped back in. And now it's a menagerie of things of live theater and writing and stand up and all these things coexist. And even this podcast, I mean, we're not performing on the podcast. We're storytelling our stories, right, and our experiences. But this is meant to help give that expression another venue, another life, and another bridge to gap and to share. I mean, I just think the arts are life-saving and life-giving at the end of the day. The last question I want to ask you both is, what piece of advice would you give someone interested in either coming out for a show, maybe for the first time, jumping into props for the first time, beginners, newbies, novices, who are of any age, any background, any experience? What would you say to them?
Oh, my. Do it. Obviously, do it. I don't know.
Jump in.
I didn't know what I was doing when I started. Someone just said, well, you do props. And I was like, sure. And you don't know, but there's so many people that will help you. Yeah. And that, I mean, I know at the Playhouse, we've tried very hard to mentor new people to do these different things. And you can just say, I want to learn to do this. And they come in and maybe it's not their thing, or maybe they're doing their own show.
I always tell people that if you do anything for 15 or 20 minutes or an hour a day for 6 weeks, you're going to get good at it. And you're going to get to the point where you want other people to watch you do what it is, whether it's tying your shoes or singing a song or memorizing a script. If you practice every day for 6 weeks, you're going to get really good at it. Yeah. So I always tell, that's the deal. We've been working with kids a lot. The idea is, let's work on this thing so hard that after 6 weeks, when we say the lines, it sounds like we're saying it for the very first time. And that's good we want to get, I think.
Yeah.
And these are volunteer organizations.
Yeah, they sure are.
I mean, it's not like someone's going to say, well, you're not professional.
That's right.
That's no good. Right. It's like, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for helping me. Thank you for doing it on your own. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Thank you both. We're going to wrap up with our rapid fire questions. These are just whatever comes to your mind first. There's no right or wrong answer. There's just 5, and they're the same questions for each of you.
Okay.
So I'll start with you, Rob. I'm pointing at you, but no one can see that I'm pointing at you. So, all right, rapid fire questions. First question, what is your favorite stage play?
The Odd Couple.
Your favorite prop?
I wore a certain pair of glasses once upon a time that will always live in my heart.
Perfect. A dream show to act in?
I would love to be in The Sunshine Boys again. I was in it with Don Kuehlhorn several years ago, and it was really good. I have a Neil Simon Jones for some reason, yeah.
Love it. Favorite performance ritual, whether that's backstage or anything like that?
There's a flight of stairs that comes up from the basement of the town hall, Elk Rapids Town Hall, and I always come up the stage to LaGrange by ZZ Top.
Love it.
Dun, 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 dun.
I love it. All right. And your favorite thing to do in Northern Michigan outside of the performing arts?
Golf.
Golf. All right. Nan, you're up next. What is your favorite stage play?
Don't have one.
What is a dream show or role you'd like to act in or have?
I love to do any role that has a woman that has lived life and can show an experience of living that life.
Okay. Favorite prop?
Dolls.
Favorite performance ritual?
I read through or listen to the whatever I'm in every show before the show.
And favorite thing to do in Northern Michigan outside of the performing arts?
Be at the beach with my grandchildren.
Aw, great. Thank you both so much. It was such a pleasure to talk with both of you and learn all the things and your perspectives and experience and everything else here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for leading me into this this view of my life.
Thank you so much, and we will see you or hear from you at our next podcast.